Jaden Thomas thought he had it all: love, success, and a bright future. But when his fiancée's parents discovered his humble background, their true colors showed. With one cruel remark, they shattered his world, dismissing him and his mother. But they didn't know who they were up against. Jaden's mother, a woman of quiet strength, has a secret that will turn the tables in a way no one saw coming. What happens when the power of love and resilience clashes with arrogance and pride? Watch as a single mother's determination changes everything in this unforgettable story. My name is Jaden Thomas. One day, I was meeting with Ruby Jackson, the daughter of the bank's president, before our wedding. In a private room of an upscale restaurant, I couldn't believe my ears. Single parent, and on top of that, your mom is. The wedding is off. No way am I letting my daughter marry a guy like that. My mom is my only family. Upon learning that my mom is blind and my dad is not around, Ruby's parents suddenly changed their attitude. What? Don't you get it? Let me enlighten you. In this world, social status matters. Our daughter is the heir to the bank. As for you, well, you can figure it out yourself. Our families are not a good match. I understand wanting to marry up, but it offers us nothing. Try to understand that with your small brain. My mom is indeed blind, but that's because she sacrificed herself to protect me. I couldn't forgive anyone who spoke ill of my mom. Now, if you understand, get out of my sight. Talking to poor people makes me feel poor, and I hate it. He waved us away dismissively. At that moment, my mom, who had been silent, smiled sweetly and said,
I see. Well, I have an idea too.
when my mom gets angry, she always smiles. What she said next caused Ruby's parents to lose everything. I am Jaden Thomas. What I still remember well is the time when my mom and I lived together, hand in hand. Hand in hand, or rather, my mom was both a dad and a mom to me. My mom was the owner of a small factory. It was a small company with only a few employees, even though she was called president. After school, I would wait at the factory until my mom finished her work. When I was an elementary school student, I would go to my mom's office after school and wait for her to come home. When her work was done, we would go home together. It was our routine to buy discounted leftover sandwiches at the supermarket on the way home. When I asked my mom why I didn't have a dad, she never gave me a clear answer. I had a vague idea that the factory originally belonged to my dad, but I didn't know why he was no longer around. There was someone my mom often talked to at the factory, a person who came to the workplace in a neat suit and acted superior to my mom. Ms. Thomas, the repayment deadline has passed. Haven't you seen the notice?
I'm sorry. I'll make the payment right away, please. Just a little more time.
You said that before, and it was quite delayed.
I'm sorry. By the way, about the additional loan I mentioned earlier, is there any way it can be arranged? With one more piece of equipment, I can definitely repay the borrowed money.
You need to repay what you owe first.
Please.
It's no use begging to me. If the delays continue, this factory will be.
Please wait. I will definitely repay it.
My mom had mortgaged her factory and taken a loan from the bank, but it seemed the business wasn't doing well. She always had a troubled look on her face for as long as I can remember. I once asked her about it. Hey, why isn't Dad here? My mom looked sad and stayed silent. Why? Her face grew more and more somber. I regretted bringing it up with her. Never mind. Then that incident happened. That day, I was waiting for my mom at her factory again after coming back from elementary school. She finished work around 9 p.m. After that, we went to the supermarket, but they were already preparing to close, so we couldn't buy anything.
I'm sorry, Jaden. Tonight's dinner is bread and water.
I'm hungry.
I'm sorry, Jaden.
Why do I always have to endure this? I'm hungry.
Jaden, I'm sorry.
My mom tried to hug me. Don't come near me. I pushed her away.
Jaden,
Why isn't Dad here? My friends always tease me because I don't have a dad. They say, your dad ran away. And your mom was abandoned.
I'm sorry, Jaden. That's not true.
I don't want to hear it. I'm not going home. I ran out into the night. I was sad and in pain. Growing up hungry. Always shivering and huddling up with my mom in our cold houses. Being teased by my friends. Having to see my mom's sad face every day. I sprinted down the dark street at full speed.
Jaden, it's dangerous. Stop.
I ignored my mom's voice and kept running. Tears streamed down my face. I couldn't see through the tears. Then it happened. Suddenly, through my tear-filled vision, everything brightened. There was a horrendous noise.
Jaden,
I heard my mom's anguished scream. And then my body was struck by something and thrown into the air. When I came to, I was lying on the street. And then, my mom was lying in front of me. A man from the truck was stumbling around, being berated by onlookers.
Ma'am. Ma'am, the ambulance is on its way. Hang in there.
Hey, old man, you reek of alcohol. How much did you drink? It was hard to believe, but the person lying there seemed to be my mom. Mom, kid, don't shake her. Mom, 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 mom. I kept screaming like I was broken. It looked like my mom had hit her face hard. I later heard that the truck driver was drunk. I had run into the road crying, and my mom, seeing me, tried to protect me and got hit by the truck. My mom was taken to the hospital and underwent a long surgery. When she came back to the hospital room, her face was wrapped in bandages, making her unrecognizable. She couldn't speak. I don't remember much from this time. I think my mind refused to record anything due to the shock. Not long after, my mom's factory closed. I was sent to live with relatives. After school, I would visit my sleeping mom, do my homework there, and then return to my relatives' houses. That became my daily routine. Since my relatives lived in the same neighborhood, I didn't have to transfer schools. Even the friends who used to say mean things to me stopped talking to me. Seeing my miserable situation, both adults and children pitied me and kept their distance. During this tough time, my cousin Ian Taylor supported me. Ian, 3 years older than me, was the only child of the relatives I was sent to live with. He sympathized with my situation and treated me like a real brother. When I entered middle school, he gave me his old bag and stuff. Despite my uncle and aunt offering to buy new ones, I insisted on using Ian's hand-me-downs. Sorry about the hand-me-downs. You'd probably prefer new ones. Of course not. I asked uncle and aunt to let me have your hand-me-downs. Really? Yeah, I want to be like you, Ian. Really? I'm glad to hear that. Well, we're like real brothers. Ian often checked on my mom and visited her frequently. Though my mom lost her sight, thanks to rehabilitation, she could walk on her own by the time I entered middle school. When she came home, I started living with her again. My mom had saved my life. I decided to be her eyes.
sorry for worrying you, Jaden.
I took my mom's hand. I had attended multiple sessions to learn how to assist a visually impaired person. Ian had arranged for these sessions around my mom's discharge and attended them with me. I told my mom how much uncle, aunt, and Ian had done for us. Then she revealed something surprising.
Your uncle and aunt repaid our factory's debt and provided severance pay for the employees.
What?
They had offered financial support even before the accident, but I kept refusing their help. Once you borrow money, you might get used to relying on others. I was afraid of that. I didn't want to ruin our relationship with them.
I see.
I'm sorry for putting you through hardship. I can tell you these things now that you're in middle school, but I didn't have the courage to talk about it before. I'm sorry, Jaden.
No, I'm the one who has to apologize. You were struggling so much, but I cursed myself for running off that dark night. As a child, I couldn't understand my mom's struggles. Mom, thank you for protecting me. I thanked her from the bottom of my heart. I'm really sorry. Because you saved me, Mom, you. She reached out and found me. Then she hugged me.
Please, don't blame yourself. Jaden, you are a part of me. You are the child I bore in pain. I love you more than anything. Protecting you is natural.
Mom. After that, my mom started working at my uncle's company. Michael, my uncle, was a CEO. He found and gave my mom tasks she could do despite her blindness. She was deeply grateful to him for taking on her debts, and she said she would devote her life to repaying him through her work at his company. I had planned to start working right after dropping out of high school, but thanks to the generosity of Uncle Michael and his family, I was able to finish high school and then go to college. Although I was at an age where I wanted to have fun, I studied diligently since I was given the opportunity. I got into a top university and started working at a bank. Wearing a suit I wasn't used to, I underwent training at the bank. I took notes, summarizing key points carefully. Now it was time to practice counting money. There was a sound at my feet. The woman next to me had dropped some practice bills. I picked them up and handed them back to her.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
No problem. I noticed she was struggling with counting the bills. She seemed clumsy, quiet and serious. She was pretty, but it was a shame she was so clumsy. But it was not the time to worry about others. I needed to work hard and earn a lot. I want to repay Uncle Michael, Aunt Mary, Ian, and my mom. I diligently reviewed and prepared, finishing the training at the top of my class. I was assigned to the headquarters loan department, my preferred choice. Only a few promising individuals got their desired placement. Of course, the woman who dropped the practice bills ended up in branch office duties. She often stayed late, redoing her notes and looking puzzled. Why didn't she ask for help when she didn't understand something greater than? I thought that, but she always seemed nervous, constantly watching other people's reactions. I knew she wouldn't succeed like that. It was a shame given how good she looked. After the training ended, the trainees had a celebration. We toasted at a bar. Ruby, the woman from before, started talking to me.
Jaden, you're amazing. You got into the headquarters' loan department. I wanted that too. I thought I worked hard, but
She looked disappointed. I had a goal, a memory from my childhood. My mom, desperate and working hard after being denied a loan. She raised me with all her effort, despite our poverty. I wanted to help reduce the number of people like her. I wanted to be a loan officer who could offer compassionate advice. Seeing how genuinely disappointed she was, I wondered if she had a goal too. Ruby, do you have a goal?
I want to become independent.
I see. Let's both keep working hard.
Do you have a goal, Jaden?
Yeah, my goal is what keeps me going. When I said that, Ruby looked surprised.
I thought you could do anything like a genius, Jaden. I thought you were naturally talented. So, I'm happy you said let's both work hard. And a bit surprised to see you're working hard too.
You are misunderstanding me. I'm just putting in effort. That's all. I was just working hard to repay the people around me. No matter how tough things were, my mom persevered. She got injured protecting me. And the Taylor family helped us during those times. I held the utmost gratitude and respect for them.
Can I change if I work hard too?
Ruby looked down, lacking confidence. Of course, the more effort you put in, the closer you'll get to your goal. Let's work hard together. From that day on, I became friends with her. Ruby Jackson. As a fellow newcomer, she started asking me for help with work. It felt good to be relied on after having relied on my mom and the Taylor family for so long. She gradually became more confident and started voicing her opinions. Then a tragic event occurred. Uncle Michael and Aunt Mary passed away. They'd gone on a bus trip that Ian had given them as a gift. but they never returned. Ian deeply regretted it. It was my turn to support him. I threw myself into my work, and after returning home, I supported Ian and my mom. That became my daily routine. A year later, Ruby confessed her feelings to me. I was honestly surprised because I didn't have the luxury of falling in love.
Will you go out with me?
She looked at me with straight, serious eyes. They were much stronger than the uncertain gaze she had when we first met. And so, we started dating. Our relationship was going well, but I had one concern. It was about Ian. Since the accident that took Uncle Michael and Aunt Mary, he hardly took any personal time. It seemed like he was throwing himself into work to avoid facing his grief. I couldn't help but worry about him. It made me feel guilty for being caught up in love and romance. But the situation reached a point where I had to say something. Impatient with my lack of a proposal, she ended up saying it herself.
I want to marry you, Jaden.
It was a proposal from her. I was genuinely happy. She was honest, sincere, and reserved yet strong-willed. That was Ruby. I'm sorry for making you say it first. After responding to her proposal, she revealed a shocking truth to me. But it was so sudden that I asked for some time to think about it. I then consulted my mom. As long as both of you have genuine feelings, I think it's fine. I'll support you, she said so gently over the phone. Am I really good enough? This question plagued me for days. But hearing her say she could only think of being with me helped me make up my mind. We arranged a meeting between our families, her parents, and my mom. I never expected what would happen next. The restaurant was incredibly fancy, with a facade that left me in disbelief. The trees lining the path from the gate to the entrance were beautifully maintained. The staff were impeccably polite. It was an impressive, upscale restaurant that made me feel a bit overwhelmed. Her parents were covering the costs. So, this is where we're meeting. Feeling a bit hesitant, I heard my mom's voice.
Jaden, it's going to be okay. Don't worry.
My mom and I stepped into the restaurant, guided by an attendant to a private room. Inside, Ruby and her parents were already seated. Her dad had a stern, authoritative presence. Her mom exuded an aura of elegance and wealth. We shook hands and took our seats. Jaden, your mom is. Seeing my mom's white cane, Cameron Jackson frowned. Yes. I gave him a sly wink. Well, fine. Shall we begin? With that remark from Cameron Jackson, the dinner quietly commenced. I'm sure my daughter has told you, but let me introduce myself formally. I am Cameron Jackson, president of the bank. Yes, Ruby was the daughter of the bank president where I worked. Despite being the president's daughter, she never flaunted it or mentioned it to anyone. Among our peers, probably only a few knew her true identity. So, when she proposed to me and revealed who she was, I was genuinely surprised. Yes, I know. This is my mother, Martha Thomas. And your dad? I don't have one.
He disappeared when Jaden was young.
Disappear? You never told me about it, Ruby. I came here thinking he had a reliable background. Cameron's face showed clear displeasure.
Now, dear. And Martha, about your.
She was probably referring to my mom's eyes. Linda Jackson spoke while glancing at the white cane. My mother is blind. Upon hearing that, Linda, Ruby's mother, started whispering to her husband. He nodded repeatedly. Well, in that case, the engagement is off. I couldn't believe my ears. Off? But. No buts about it. This kind of family situation is news to us. Ruby, I'll talk to you later. To deceive our precious daughter like this. He glared at me as he spoke.
Please wait.
My mom raised her voice.
There's nothing wrong with Jaden. He graduated from college. He's smart and hardworking. Why judge him just because of our family situation?
Don't you get it? Let me enlighten you. In this world, social status matters. Our daughter is the heir to the bank. As for you, well, you can figure it out yourself. Our families are not a good match. I understand wanting to marry up, but it offers us nothing. Try to understand that with your small brain.
Social status?
My mom seemed shocked. Exactly. If you want to associate with us, you should at least be a business magnate, politician, or perhaps a doctor. Do you understand now? Just leave. The engagement is off. It's a waste of time.
Dad,
Ruby raised her voice.
what does not having a father have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with our marriage.
Ruby, I've always told you this. You belong to a different world. You need to understand that. Being raised by a single mom. Well, you get the point. There's no way we can be related to such a family, even if the world turns upside down. Absolutely not. You understand now, don't you? Oh, and you're an employee at our bank, aren't you? Yes, I am. I couldn't help but feel a surge of hostility. I see. Hiring someone with a problematic family background like yours. Our HR must be blind. I'll remember your name. You deceived our precious daughter. You'll face appropriate consequences. Listen, it's for your own good. You should start looking for a new job. Now, if you understand, get out of my sight. Talking to poor people makes me feel poor, and I hate it. As he dismissively waved us away, my mom, who had been silent, smiled and spoke.
I see. Then we will no longer do business with your bank.
When my mom is angry, she always smiles. And at that moment, she was very angry.
We will be moving the accounts of our 10,000 employees to another bank.
What? My Cameron froze. All of your employees. 10,000 accounts?
Yes, all 10,000 employee accounts. Let me confirm it.
With that, my mom started making a phone call. When it started ringing, she put it on speaker and placed it on the table. Aunt Martha, what's going on?
Ian, could you prepare to move our employees' accounts to T&M Bank? It seems the current bank isn't quite satisfactory.
Sure, if that's what you want, I'll get started right away.
Thank you.
With that, she hung up. What? Wait. Thomas? There's no CEO named Thomas.
I apologize for the late introduction, but I am the chairperson of Global Holdings.
What? Global Holdings? That's one of our major clients. My mom had taken over as chairperson of Global Holdings after my uncle and aunt passed away. By the way, Ian is now the CEO. After graduating from university, Ian joined my uncle's company. He was in the midst of being thoroughly trained in management when my uncle and aunt died. Their sudden deaths caused confusion among the executives. Some tried to seize control of the company, while others genuinely advised Ian for the good of the company. Ian, being young, didn't know whom to trust, so he appointed my mom as chairperson. After her discharge from the hospital, my mom dedicated herself to my uncle's company with unwavering determination. Ian and my mom worked tirelessly together after my uncle and aunt passed away. At first, my mom declined the position of chairperson, saying it was impossible for her, but she was persuaded by Ian's words that just having her there was enough, and she gave it her all. However, she left all the public-facing roles to Ian. It's no wonder Cameron didn't know about my mom, as her name rarely appeared in public. Cameron's attitude changed dramatically. I see. So you were the chairperson of that company. What a pleasant surprise. Your CEO has always been very kind to us.
That's exactly the problem, Dad.
Ruby, who had been silent until now, spoke up.
How can you change your attitude so easily?
Of course. We're talking about 10,000 accounts.
It's always about money, isn't it? People aren't just about money.
Ruby raised her voice. Her hands were trembling with anger.
I'm done. I can't take this anymore. I'm quitting the bank. I won't inherit anything. I don't want anything to do with you who only sees people as money. I don't want to become that kind of person.
Ruby, calm down. I will have a proper talk with your mom.
Yes, Ruby, you need to listen to us.
My mom interrupted Linda.
I have nothing to discuss. Our company values people who have grown up in challenging environments. We support those who are poor, have disabilities, or are ill. We will never do business with your bank again.
Wait, please. I beg you. Cameron turned to my mom and apologized.
Stop it, Dad. It's disgraceful. I don't want to see you pleading for money. Jaden, Martha, let's go. Dad, Mom, thank you for raising me. From now on, I will follow my own path. No matter how hard it is, I will live with him.
Wait, Ruby.
Her mom grabbed Ruby's arm, but she shook it off. It must have been a tremendous shock. She covered her face with both hands and burst into tears. Despite the heart-wrenching sound of her sobs, we left the restaurant. Things had escalated dramatically. I never expected it to turn out like this. When Ruby revealed she was the daughter of the bank president, she had consulted me about her parents. They judged people based on their status and wealth. She had grown up with that mindset, and as a child, she was scolded for befriending those she liked. Eventually, she started always watching her parents' reactions. Following their wishes, she joined the bank as the heir. She thought her life was predetermined until she met me. She admired how I was trying to shape my own life through hard work. She was drawn to my kind heart, which thought of my mom and relatives who had supported me. She passionately explained this to me. Though it was a bit embarrassing, she seemed genuinely troubled.
My parents will definitely oppose this marriage. But when that happens, I will stand up to them and get their approval. I will carve out my own life. You taught me that. It might be tough, but please bear with it.
Fortunately, I was used to enduring hardships to secure a better future. There was a strong resolve in her eyes. As my mom had said, we ceased all business with the bank. Rumors quickly spread within the bank that Cameron was responsible for the loss of 10,000 accounts. He wasn't fired, but he stepped down to take responsibility. It seems there had been other issues with his behavior towards the higher Ubis. Cameron, who had always looked down on others as president, was removed from important meetings and ignored by everyone. Eventually, his pride couldn't take it. A year after stepping down, he quit the bank. He and his wife now live quietly in the countryside. And so Ruby and I got married. Preferring simplicity, Ruby wanted the ceremony to include just my mom, Ian, and me. We exchanged vows in front of a priest. Both of us quit the bank and joined Ian's company. Inspired by my mom and Ian's dedication, Ruby studied to become a secretary and now works as the CEO's secretary. I also obtained a secretary certification and now serve as my mom's secretary, literally becoming her eyes. Together, we helped the company grow from the foundation laid by my uncle and aunt, turning it into a top-tier company. In the past, I merely endured difficult days. But my mom, Ian, and my uncle and aunt supported me. I worked hard to repay them. No matter the circumstances, I won't give up on creating a future. It will be tough, but with our understanding of other people's pain, we'll be okay. Even in darkness, the night always ends. Believing in tomorrow, I continue to walk forward today.